everyone, I'm Rebecca, and today I'm going to talk about how I got my 2-month-old to go to sleep on her own, and not only go to sleep on her own, but eventually go to sleep without even crying. Wouldn't any mama love that? Everything in this video are things that I learned from 4 different mamas and also from 2 books. I love these books and I would highly recommend them. Baby Wise and Healthy Sleep Habits, Happy Child. Hopefully this video can summarize it all for you and help you if you are thinking about sleep training your child. Eliyanah is 14 months right now, so it was over a year ago when I sleep trained her. And everybody tells me how smart she is, how happy she is, how alert she is. And you know what I say to them? I say, it's because she gets her sleep. Eliyanah loved to sleep on us. She just wanted a warm body to sleep on. And I understand when a baby is a newborn, they need that. They need that contact with a mother. But there came a point in time, a couple months later, when I realized I need to get stuff done and I can't just be a baby bed the whole day. I found that when Eliyanah fell asleep on me and I would put her down, she would wake right up. Or she would wake up soon after that, whereas if she slept on me, she took longer naps and slept wonderfully, but she just would not sleep on her own. Sleep training is definitely hard. I feel you, mama. I know it is so hard, but something that helped me through this was someone told me that you are teaching your baby a skill that they will use the rest of their life. Babies need to learn to soothe themselves to sleep. And if they don't learn that, they will always be reliant on something or someone else to put them to sleep, or they will wake up wanting somebody to soothe them back to sleep. And our whole goal is to bless our baby with a good night's sleep, where they sleep through the night and where they can put themselves to sleep peacefully without crying. The first tip that I would have for you is to keep your baby on a wake, eat, play, sleep cycle. The moment that they wake up, they are very well rested and they have enough energy to eat and to get a full feeding. It is very, very important to get a full feeding in. If you don't get a full feeding, they will want a snack every hour of the day. I found that if I nursed Eliyanah before her naps, she would be so sleepy and not get a full feeding in. I found that when Eliyanah first woke up, I would feed her and then we would play and then I would put her down for a nap and she slept longer and better. And this goes into my second tip. Make sure you know the awake time for the age of your baby. When they're very young and they're newborns, or even when they're 2 months, their awake time is very minimal and they take multiple naps throughout the day. And this is where the book Baby Wise came in handy. I learned about how long my baby should be awake, how not to let them get overtired, and to put them to bed when you see the sleepy cues. To give you an idea, when Eliyanah was almost 2 months old, her awake time was anywhere from 45 minutes to 50 minutes. If I let her go over an hour and still be awake, I found that she got overtired and it took her longer to fall asleep and it was harder for her to fall asleep, or she took very short naps and would wake up after 15 or 20 minutes. So basically, when Eliyanah woke up, I would immediately feed her and make sure she had a full feeding. Then we would play. And my third tip is wear your baby's buns out. That's what one mama told me, and hey, it really comes in handy. Once they get a really good feeding, you play with them. So basically after 45 minutes, or when it got closer to 50 minutes of Eliyanah being awake, I would whisk her away to the nursery, change her diaper, swaddle her, and put her in bed. So this goes into tip number 4. Do not let your baby get overtired. When you start to see the sleepy cues of your baby yawning or rubbing their eyes, or I'm trying to think of other sleepy cues, fussiness, grumpiness. When you start to see those sleepy cues, immediately take your baby and get them ready for bed. If you wait any longer, they will get overtired, overstimulated, and it will take a long time to get your baby to go to sleep, or they will wake up after 15 or 20 minutes, and you do not want that. My fifth tip for you is to stay consistent. Now, when they are young, it's hard to have a consistent nap time because it all kind of depended on when Eliyanah woke up in the morning, and sometimes that was a little bit different. Like it might be 7 o'clock one day, 7:30 another day, 8 o'clock another day, 6:30 one day. So when they are really young, it's hard to have a consistent nap time, but definitely have a consistent bedtime. That I think is the most important. And as far as naps go, be consistent with their awake time. If they are only awake for 45 or 50 minutes, keep that consistent, and after that 50 minutes, they are in bed, or you are getting them ready for bed and not waiting for them to get overtired. And my sixth tip, I should have said this a little bit earlier, but dedicate a week or 2 weeks, depending on how old your baby is, to sleep training. I dedicated a whole week to sleep training when Eliyanah was almost 2 months old, and by day 4, she was a new baby. It did not even take a whole week, but you definitely want to stay consistent and not be going on trips or be going different places when you are sleep training, because you want your baby to get used to consistency and schedules and rhythm. They thrive off of a schedule and consistency and routine. But you have to stay consistent, otherwise they will regress. And if you happen to not be consistent with any of these steps, then they may regress and start crying a lot, wanting you, and they won't go to sleep on their own, or it will be a lot harder if you are not consistent. So my seventh tip for you is to have a nap time routine and bedtime routine. And the nap time and bedtime routine can be somewhat similar, but sometimes in the evening it can be a little bit different. If you give your baby a bath before bed at night, that can help relax them and make them even more tired, so that they will want to go to sleep and that they will fall asleep and sleep well. So for our nap time routine, what I did with Eliyanah when she was almost 2 months old, I would change her diaper, swaddle her, close the curtains, go to the rocking chair, and I would rock her, but I would not rock her to sleep. And that, my friends, is the 8th tip, and I think very key to the whole sleep training process. You do not want to rock them to sleep. You do not want to put them to sleep, because the whole goal of this is for them to put themselves to sleep. So I would rock Eliyanah, she would get very sleepy, her eyes would get heavy. Once I saw her eyes getting heavy and she was real relaxed, I would lay her down in her crib and say, "Go night-night, I love you," and I would leave the nursery. In the beginning, when I first started sleep training Eliyanah, she would wake up right after I laid her down because she was so used to sleeping on me. And I loved that, but I also needed to bless Eliyanah with the skill of putting herself to sleep and having a very good nap without being reliant on me, and to be able to sleep better at night without constantly waking up wanting me. So this is actually blessing your baby with the gift of sleep and blessing your baby with a skill that they will use the rest of their life. So I kept that in my head, kept trying to remember that. So that goes into my 9th tip, is to ease your baby into sleep training. You don't want to cold turkey put your baby down and just let them cry. That's not what I am telling you to do. What I did, I put Eliyanah down, and then I looked at my watch or looked at my phone, looked at what time it was, and I would wait 2 minutes. And believe me, that 2 minutes felt like an hour when your baby is crying, which Eliyanah is waking up right now from her nap. So I will finish this video tonight. So I would wait 2 minutes, and then I would go in, reassure Eliyanah, kind of turn her on her side, pat, pat, pat her bottom, and go shh, pat, 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 shh, and just reassure her and even talk sweetly to her. And then once she has calmed down for a little while, I would say for about a minute or less than a minute. I wouldn't stay in there too long, but about like a minute or two, making sure she was reassured. And then I would walk back out, and I would wait about 5 minutes, and I'd keep track of the time, wait about 5 minutes, and then if she was still upset, I would go in there, pat, 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 shh, pat, 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 and talk sweetly to her, reassure her, and then I would wait 10 minutes and then go in there after 10 minutes and do the same thing and reassure her. And then one thing I do want to mention is that after about 30 minutes, let's say like I waited 2 minutes and reassured her, and then 5 minutes, 10 minutes, whatever, when all that added up to about 30 minutes and she was still upset in the very beginning, I would check her diaper, make sure she didn't poop, I would burp her, make sure all the burps were out, I would just make sure all of her needs were met, and as long as all of her needs were met and she was happy on me, I would lay her back down in her crib and start the process again. And as time goes on, as each day goes on, you could wait a little bit longer and let them cry a little bit longer until they realize, I'm in here for a reason. My mommy wants me to go to sleep. Eventually they will get the picture that they are in their crib for a reason, that it is time for a night-night time. And I finally got to the place where I was texting one of my friends and I was like, she is not going to sleep, she's not going to sleep, and I'm doing everything that you're telling me to do. She said, Rebecca, wait 30 minutes. Let her soothe herself and calm down, and she will go to sleep. And you know what? After 30 minutes, she was going to sleep. And by day 4 of sleep training, I was amazed at how well Eliyanah was sleeping. She was sleeping 1.5 to 2 hours for her naps and was sleeping better at night, not waking up as much. So that was breakthrough for us. And also something to keep in mind is that if you keep going and going and going and going in like every couple of minutes and checking to make sure your baby is okay, which is understandable because you love your baby and you care for your baby, but if you go in too much when you're trying to get your baby to fall asleep, you can actually end up stimulating your baby and keeping your baby awake and not allowing them to fall asleep. And so definitely make the intervals that you're going in a little bit longer, and then each day just kind of lengthen that time. The younger the baby, I have heard, the easier it is to sleep train, the quicker that they get it, just because the younger they are, you're still establishing routine and they will catch on to that routine and schedule and they'll stick with that. But then the older they get, so if they're 9 months or 12 months or 16 months or whatever, they are established in whatever routine that they are used to, and they are more aware of everything around them. And so it may take them longer to get the picture that they need to go to sleep on their own in their crib. And also when your baby is pretty young, swaddling definitely helps, because Eliyanah would jerk awake when she had that startle reflex and she would jerk, and swaddling definitely helped her stay asleep. And some people may say, well, Rebecca, I travel a lot with my family and we go and do places. I can't be home all the time. They can't be in their own crib all the time, and we can't have blackout curtains all the time. Well, you know what? We travel quite a bit with Eliyanah, and what we do when we are in a new place, I do give her a lot of grace when we are in a new place. But I also try to reinforce that initial sleep training that we did here at home. Also, if your baby has any health issues or reflux, this video may not be for you. I would talk to your pediatrician and see what you should do about sleep training. This video is for a normal, healthy baby and how to get them to go to sleep on their own. And obviously, if your baby is teething and upset because of that, or there's some other health issue going on, then obviously that is not the time to sleep train. I hope these 10 tips helped you, and I hope the resources that I included in this video has helped you. And again, this came from talking to 4 different mamas, looking on the internet, looking at 2 different books. And so this is just a summary of what I learned and what I did to sleep train Eliyanah. So I hope this helped you. If you have any questions, let me know down below. I would be happy to answer those questions. And thank you so much for watching. And don't forget to subscribe for new videos in the future and tap that notification bell so you don't miss them. And I will see you next time. Bye-bye.